Jesus, hope a rat doesn't come out and get me.
Is that a GoPro?
It is a GoPro.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the #1 most requested type of video that I get. A day in the life. We want to see all the randomness. We want to see all the different repairs. Make us a video like you used to, Handyman. This day was recorded earlier in the summer in May. Everybody wants to know how much I'm charging now that we have crazy inflation and even more severe labor shortages. Oh! If you don't know, this is the #1 home improvement YouTube channel in the entire world. Okay, this is our first job, and it is to get the sprinklers back onto this house. These are these little caps right here, but they're on all these valves. These valves are completely different than the valves in the other box. One box is for the front, and one box is for the back. Right here is where your air compressor attaches to blow things out, and if I turn the water on, water's going to come shooting out of there. So we'll just turn these like this. This is another one you got to close off. Close this one off too. You never know if something broke, somebody turned something on, you know, over the long winter. Now we're going to go down to the basement and turn the water on. So in this house, this is the main shutoff to the house, and this is the shutoff to the sprinkler line. And this here drains the water out of the pipe that leads to the backflow preventer. So you shut it off, shut everything off, and you undo this in the wintertime and you drain all that water back. It's got a little O-ring in there. Just make sure that's snug down. It's gonna crack this open. Whew. That's just a little crack. And then go all the way open. Don't hear anything running, so that's good so far. Okay, we got a little leak. Oh, that's my fault. Come on, screw this sucker around. Looks like maybe the O-ring. So I'll have to turn this off, pull this off, clean the inside of this little cap. This is another little bleeder cap, just like I showed you downstairs in the basement. The next thing that fails is inside of here. I'm not sure why this is undone. It's got me a little worried, but so we're just gonna crack this open. I'm gonna show you later in the day at another stop what it looks like when this thing is broken inside here. Hopefully this one isn't broken. There we go. I'm gonna open that slowly. No leaks so far. Turn. There we go. Now I'm gonna hear sprinklers going in the backyard, which is not supposed to happen unless the sprinkler clock is on for some reason. So that's not exactly what you're looking for. Obviously this one broke and this is spraying right at this light that they added. We will pop this. Oh great, modular. There we go. So we will have to make a parts run to get a new cap. I think everything else is good, but I'll take this one out and take it to the store and match it up. Get a new one of those, but we still have 2 more zones to check. Check out these new shades. I got little kid ones too. We match. I'll leave a link in the description. Oh, seatbelt. 2 sprinkler heads I got to repair, so I'm going to grab them right now. I had to adjust 3 or 4 more, clean out some filters, things like that. Overall, it is exactly what I expected. I was hoping, you always got to have hope that you're going to go in there, you turn it on, everything's going to spray just like it did last summer. But it never ever works out that way. Screw these 2 on and this job will be done, and I'm off to the next one. Is there a handyman bubble as far as how much we're being paid and how much people are willing to pay us just to get us to show up and work on their house? I'm not sure, but that's something we'll be discussing on the Handyman Business YouTube channel. So for the first stop, we had 2 sprinkler head repairs, a de-winterization. That was $500. Pretty much I'm at a $500 minimum for my stops now. Put that in your tally, on to the next stop. Okay, we're at our next stop, and it is a freeze break. And I've been to this house before, and done a freeze break repair. And I can't remember where it was. I think it might have been in the valve. The story with this one is they were out of town last October 2021, and the neighbor called them up and said, hey, you got water spraying all over the front of your house. Well, what had happened is the backflow preventer broke and was shooting a geyser of water all over the house. Did actually flood the basement. So what I've got to do is replace this plastic piece. I'll give you a close-up on how this whole thing works. Should be pretty simple, straightforward. Just go on down to Home Depot and find a replacement plastic vacuum breaker in here. This is to prevent water from flowing backwards into the house and into the water supply. You don't want your irrigation water flowing backwards. The problem is, this has been here for a while, and I'm going to use the WD-40 Specialist penetrant and see if I can get this plastic piece loosened up and unscrewed from this big brass housing here. Nope. Oh, I knew that was coming. You guys can see right in there, you can see the thread pattern, and you can see how there's a tint of green. That's corrosion on this brass here. So I think we're gonna have to let the WD-40 Specialist penetrant do its work before we can get this to come out. There's an arrow that says hand tighten this way, and I'm trying to go the opposite way. I'm gonna use this flexible straw, and it's actually pretty cool. Look at that. I'm going almost 90 degrees. And, oh, look at that. You can see it going up into the threads. We're gonna let that sit, and this should come loose. There we go. Give you a close-up of those threads. You can still faintly make out some of the bluish green color on the inside of those threads there. This is a rubber gasket. It's the other part of the broken plastic. Probably get another O-ring. You can see how this one is cracked. I got the replacement parts straight off the shelf at Home Depot. Got the grease and everything. Oh, that's rolling much. Okay, no. No, wait a minute. It goes on last. It goes on like this and this. It's like this. No, it's like this. This is not part of it. Works. It's like this. It's like there. Do this. It's putting some anti-seize on these threads here, so that it's easier to get off next time. This hand tightened. The bell on. Where's my nut? For those of you having panic attacks, you can clearly see that the overspray dries and there's no staining on the stone. Calm down now, calm down. Now this one is a little bit different. This stop got really, really long. It was another $600 stop. There's part of that stop will be its own video. I wanted to include the vacuum breaker repair. That's something that happens every single spring. I wanted to give you a little brief summary of how I go about repairing them and include it in this video. So we're up to $1,100. We've got 2 stops. That's half the day. That does include materials. Sprinkler heads, the vacuum breaker was 70 bucks, and the sprinkler heads I think were around 25 bucks. So we're not into it too much for materials. I'm gonna send it back to Handyman from earlier in the summer. New developments, the day just keeps growing. I could push it into a 2-day project list, but I'm gonna keep it at 1 day. So I'll set close to a record. We should be getting close to $2,000 for the day. I will update you later in the video. I had to pick up some lease extensions from a property manager. So the symptoms of the house I'm going at: water underneath the kitchen sink. That's the symptom from the garbage disposal area. Could be anything from a slip joint on the drain line came loose. Hopefully it's something simple like that. Get in, get out, get paid.
There's like a ton of water already in there, and we're assuming it was like getting worse, like when we were running, because like there's not a whole lot that seeps through just ordinarily.
Oh, okay. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's an interesting. Oh yeah, it's leaking all over the place up there.
So it's the gasket between here and there. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Is that a GoPro?
It is a GoPro. Oh, and you're missing a screw. That is interesting. Oh, it's over here. Over the ears. Right out the top. You happen to have the stopper?
Yeah, it might be in the, it was seeping through like those cracks.
Yeah, just everything vibrated loose over the years. This plumber's putty dries out. I don't know how long it's been since that's been replaced.
Yeah.
Looks real good. That was a first for me. One of the screws that holds the garbage disposal up into its flange that goes on top of the sink had vibrated out and was sitting in the bottom of the cabinet, causing the other screws to loosen up and completely leak around the plumber's putty that is on the top of the sink. Some guys always silicone with caulking around that top flange that goes on the top part of the sink. I'm not sure if that would have prevented this from leaking, because once that screw comes out and it starts shaking and the other screws loosen up and it starts shaking, I think water will eventually always get through whatever gasket or plumber's putty or caulking is on the top flange there. Another $500. On to the next one. This one hand. So up in there. Oops. rolling. We're rolling. All right, there's a chance that this one is cracked somewhere underneath the front porch. But we'll hope it's not, because I don't have to take the front porch apart. So right here is the valve to turn off the front hose bib. This is how you're supposed to drain the water out, but I don't think it got drained out. So let's make sure it's tight. All right, well, I don't hear gushing water. That's good. Let's crawl all the way up here through these cobwebs. Oh, Jesus, hope a rat doesn't come out and get me. But I'm gonna listen up here. And I'm actually gonna maybe try to take a video what it looks like through this brick wall out underneath the front porch. Oh man, hope I don't have any brown recluse. So if the water stays in there and it gets, you know, negative degrees, it'll crack. But we got lucky. Yeehaw! Oh, I'm covered in spider webs. What is all this stuff? Let's get out of here. That's disgusting. I think I may have mentioned it in the video that I had to deliver a lease extension. I only charged $100 for that service. It was basically me just getting paid to drive around town. Keep in mind, this all took place in May. So I'm de-winterizing people's homes and rental properties. So I had to go in to a house and turn on the water to the backyard and the front yard hose spigots. Another $400. I'm not sure what the tally was up to, but I think it was around $2,000. That's a record for me. I'm not sure how long that will last. Keep in mind, I live in a large metropolitan area where the demand for these simple repairs far exceeds the supply that can handle the work. Most remodeling jobs are booked a year out. Some are getting to about a year and a half, and some are just saying, we're not taking any new customers at this time because we just can't schedule that far out 2 years from now. We have no idea what's going to happen. We can't give any pricing for 2 years from now. I know a lot of the guys that do this type of work have been finding that their pricing is now the lowest because they're going to customers' houses and the customers are saying, oh, we got an estimate for 5-6 times as much as what you just quoted us. Why is that? We're going to talk more about that as the summer goes on and I do more and more projects and I'm finding that my pricing is rock bottom. If you got questions or comments, concerns, I love your concerns. Put those down below. Make sure you check out the description for links to the tools used in this video as well as today's video sponsor. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.